class 12. Yes. So I can see some of you. Jibanangshu, Neetu, Maisha, Rajalakshmi, and this is Rimpi. Yes, Shubho Vijaya to all of you. I hope Durga Puja was very nicely spent. Shubho Vijaya. So I hope that the pujo timing or this period was nicely spent. You have enjoyed, and I think that you have not gone outside, and even if you have done it with the proper care, with proper following the safety measures and everything, right? So how are you all? How are you all? I'm fine. I'm fine. After a long time, we are here. Not long. It was only 10 days, 10 to 12 days. Okay. Acha, firstly, see, there's an announcement. Please very carefully listen to it. Okay. I hope that very soon you will get a notification of the half yearly or midterm examination. For you it's half yearly. So half yearly examination will take place very soon. You will be notified about the dates and everything through the e-portal and also through the website. So you should continuously follow the website. Now today I am declaring the syllabus for it. Okay, so please be very careful about the syllabus. As we have completed both the books, part 1 and part 2, and part 3 is about to finish. So I have chosen part 1 and part 2 completely for this half yearly examination. That means for your half yearly examination, the chapters which are going to come, that is, or that are, like theme 1, that is bricks, beads and bones. Bricks, beads and bones. Theme 2, kings, farmers and towns. Kings, farmers and towns. Then theme 3, kinship, caste and class. Kinship, caste and class. Theme 4, thinkers, belief and buildings. Thinkers, belief and buildings. Then theme 6, bhakti and Sufi traditions. Bhakti and Sufi traditions. Then theme 7, an imperial capital Vijayanagara. An imperial capital Vijayanagara. Then theme 9, kings and chronicles. Kings and chronicles. So the chapters will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, 5, 6, 7, and Okay, 7, and from part 3 there will be rebels and the Raj. Theme 5 Rajlakshmi is not in your syllabus, so it will be part 1 completely. Part 1 completely, first book, all the 4 chapters, right? Second book, part 2, theme 6, Bhakti and Sufi traditions and imperial capital Vijayanagara, kings and chronicles. That means chapter 6, 7 and 9. Okay? And from part 3, theme chapter 11, that is rebels and the Raj. Rebels and the Raj. This will be your half yearly examination syllabus. So, okay, I am typing here also. I am just typing the chapters, okay? Chapter 1, comma, chapter 2, comma, chapter 3, comma, chapter 4, comma, chapter 6, comma, chapter 7, comma, chapter 9, comma, chapter 11. So these are the chapters. You check through your book. 3 books are there. So chapter 1, that is Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. Chapter 2, there is the Mauryan culture. Chapter 3, there is the Mahabharata. Chapter 4, no Jivanamshi, it's not written like it previously. It will be an MCQ. So chapter 4, it's the Buddhism and Jainism. Chapter 6, it's the Bhakti and Sufi. Chapter 7, it's Vijayanagar. Chapter 9, it's Kings and Chronicles, that means the Mughal Empire. And chapter 11, that is the revolt of 1857. Okay, so it is the Harappa, comma, Mauryan Empire, comma, Mahabharata, comma, Buddhism and Buddhism and Jainism, comma, chapter 6 is Bhakti and Sufi, comma, Bhakti and Sufi, comma, it's Vijayanagara, comma, Bhakti and Sufi, then it's Vijayanagara, then Mughals, comma, revolt of 1857. Check it. All of you check it. Alka, mute yourself. Any questions regarding the syllabus? It will be an MCQ question pattern, multiple choice questions which you have given the last time. It was only 20 marks, but this time it will be 50 marks. Okay, So which means that you have to study the chapters minutely. You have to study the chapters minutely, and you have to understand or remember each and every small and detailed version of it. Okay? Any questions? Please convey this to others. Please convey this to others. Those who are absent today, those means all of them are absent, only 8 of them are present today. Not 8, 7. Yes, 7 of them are present today only from a class of 43 students. So please convey the message to them. And any other questions? Yes, Ashmita was typing something. What is it, Ashmita? Rajlakshmi, Neetu, Rimpi, any questions? Alka, Maisha, any questions? Okay, 50 marks. Fine. Acha, another thing is that I suggest that you start preparing for the exam today onwards or whatever, and as I will be present every day through these online classes to you, so if you stuck in anywhere, if you stop anywhere, then you can ask me the questions. Okay, that's all. And then today I'll start my portion which was left. Yes, Alka? Okay, so you know how to do it. Okay. So as we were dealing with the constitution, the framing with constitution, and in my last classes I have discussed about the Constituent Assembly and everything. So how the will of people was given a prominence, given importance, how the objective resolution of Nehruji's idea became the most important feature of Indian Constitution that we have seen. Okay, so today we will see the problems which were faced during the Constituent Assembly regarding the separate electorates. Because separate electorates, they talk about defining the rights, means which right is given to you and which right is not given to you by the government of India, by the country, which is allowed for you and which is not allowed for you, is a very serious issue, right? So defining rights, and among the defining rights, the most important problem in a democracy is the separate electorate, because one of the key feature of a democracy is the right to vote. And right to vote doesn't mean that everybody is able to cast the vote, that's all. No, they should also represent the representatives in the parliament who can talk about their own grievances. Okay, so the representation is also important, and in the representation, if only some kind of people got the representation, then the poor people will be deprived. So for that reason, there was a voice, there was an issue of separate electorate. So people wanted the separate electorate to be there. Okay. And there was a huge argument continued for this kind of separate electorates. So what were the argument and what were the decision taken, that we will see today. Okay. On 27 August 1947, B. Poker Bahadur from Madras made a powerful plea for continuing separate electorates. Minorities exist in all lands, argued Bahadur. They could not be wished away. They could not be erased out of existence. The need was to create a political framework in which minorities could live in harmony with others and the differences between communities could be minimized. So what is the point? That on 27 August 1947, when the Constituent Assembly was going on, that time a person whose name was B. Poker Bahadur, who was from Madras, he made a huge argument, and his argument was to continue the separate electorate. Why? He said that in every stage, in every community, in every area of Indian subcontinent, minorities existed, and you cannot just erase out the minorities. In 1947, you made a partition, you said that all the Muslim people, you go to Pakistan, but that doesn't mean that all the Muslim people have gone to Pakistan. Many Muslim population lived in India, and it's a irony that the Muslim population was higher in India than Pakistan. So, Poker said that not only the religious minorities but also caste minorities, also other religions like Buddhism, Jainism, Christianity and others are also there. So they will exist and they will continue to be inside the political framework of India. So the main point, the main issue is to bring them under the same political background. And if the issue is to bring them under the same political background, separate electorates is the only easiest method to do that. So Poker Bahadur, he pleaded that the separate electorate, the system of separate electorate should continue. But this created a huge amount of opposition in the assembly hall. This demand for separate electorates provoked anger, dismay among the most nationalists. In the passionate debate that followed, a range of arguments were offered against the demand. The English played their game under most nationalists saw separate electorate as a measure of deliberately used by British to divide the people. R.V. Dhulekar, he commented that the English played their game under the cover of safeguards. With the help of it, they allured the minorities to a long lull. Give it up now. Now there is no one to misguide you. So, as Poker, he pleaded that separate electorate should continue. Another nationalist whose name was R.V. Dhulekar, he made a very, very strong argument. He said that this separate electorate was a tool, was a method of the British imperialistic power to divide the Indian people. And they did, and they became successful. First they gave the separate electorate rights to the Muslim League, then they were ready to provide the rights to the depressed class, which was not successful, but in a way they were successful, so the creation of Pakistan was done. So Dhulekar's point was that the British have played a game, a very simple game of divide and rule under the cover of these kinds of processes. Like divide and rule by providing the system called separate electorate. because whenever you give a separate electorate to a particular community, that community gets a privilege. And when a community gets a privilege, when a group of people gets a privilege, the other community members or the other people become angry against them because they are not getting the privilege. So Dhulekar said that now everything is over and that should stop, and now there is no one to misguide you. That means this new government, this new India government is not there to misguide you, is not there to continue the policy of separate electorate or the policy of divide and rule policy. So there is no point of continuing with this kind of policies. So this was the view of Dhulekar. Why I am mentioning the name of Poker and Dhulekar repeatedly? Because questions may come by quoting their names. Okay, questions, not only this MCQ question test, but in your board exams I have seen that they have quoted the names like Dhulekar or Poker and asked to write you about the context and the arguments. So please remember the arguments and the names of the people who have argued on these topics. Okay, fine. So this was Dhulekar. Partition had made the nationalists opposed to the idea of separate electorates. They were haunted by the fear of continued civil war, riots and violence. Separate electorates was a poison that has entered to the body politic of our country, declared Sardar Patel. It was a demand that had turned one community against another, divided the nation, caused bloodshed and led to the tragic partition of the country. So, the nationalist leaders, the nationalist members of the Constituent Assembly, they were vehemently opposed to the idea of separate electorate because they were haunted by the partition and the violence followed by the partition. They said that this separate electorate is like a poison which has entered to the politics of India during the national movement, and it did nothing, it did no better thing, it did no improvement, but it only tortured the people, it turned one community against another, it divided the nation, caused bloodshed through riots, and finally it caused the tragic partition of India in 1947. So the people, they were not ready to face something like the partition again in India. So they were very much opposed to the idea of separate electorates. Understood? Anything you want to clarify? Any questions? Any doubts? Partition of India only denotes partition. Yes. There is only one partition of India. Partition of 1947. Okay, that is only the India-Pakistan partition. Yes, Jivanangshu, what's your question?